Hello, hello, hello. Happy weekend, everyone. How are you today? Uh, I am so excited to be here today. I'm Tanya James. I'm a transformational catalyst, mentor, coach, healer, and am excited to be spending some time and talking with you today. First off, I'll wait for anybody who might be joining live to pop on, and I invite you, if you're watching this on the replay, to please feel free to share it out. I'm going to do so really quickly here, and then we will get started to talk about freedom. And if I hold on, see if I can find this. If I think about what a lot of people, ask for when they're saying, where am I here? Here we go. Well, hold on. I'll just share this real quick and then I'll get into that. Timeline, please. Have your electronics been acting up this week at all? Anybody else's? It won't let me share it to my timeline. It's just kooky. I don't know what it's doing. It did this to me last week too. So hi, whoever just joined, please feel free to share it out. Today we're going to be talking about freedom, and I was just saying that a lot of people, when they come for coaching, there is an inner desire for something that they're striving for. And more often than not, it involves inner freedom, fulfillment, peace, joy, coming back into their hearts. And so freedom has been on my mind a lot in the last week or two. It's just been coming up a lot. And it's last night I was watching Brene Brown's show that she has on Netflix right now. And there's a lot of food for thought in that episode, and definitely recommend it. And she talks about the different, every morning she wakes up and she chooses courage over comfort. She goes, am I going to choose courage today, or am I going to choose comfort today? And it's funny how the thing that we want the most, the fulfillment and the peace and the joy, yes, those are comfortable feelings and emotions, but in order to get to them, we have to be courageous and step up and be vulnerable to shine and share who we really are to the world. And in order to obtain that inner freedom, we have to be able to take that risk of falling on our face in order to get to where we want to go. And that usually involves a lot, but sometimes, some discomfort. And when we think about freedom, well, what's the opposite of freedom? Oppression, and where are we oppressing ourselves? Sometimes when we're looking at what we want and our vision is so clear on that, we're not able to see all the things that could be preventing us from getting there and getting to that point. And I just want to invite you to think about, how you're running or could be running oppression energies. And I'll give you an example. So how much of your time, this is, kind of the journaling question for you, how much of your time are you focused on what you don't want? How much of your time are you focused worrying, stressed out, doubting something, trying to figure something out? Our brains are hardwired to notice what's not working. Science says about 95% of our thoughts are actually noticed on what's not working. But what percentage of that of your day are you running in what's not working and what you're looking to create versus looking at what you're trying to create? And how oppressive is that to you getting to what you're creating, getting to that place of inner freedom, getting to that place of inner joy and inner harmony? How much time are you spending saying, oh, I wish it was this way and I wish it was that way? And trust me, I know I've complained with the best of them. And even though I know the the benefits of not complaining. It's just so easy to go in and say, oh my God, this just happened and that just happened, and to let the triggers start to run the show. Can you see how you're oppressing your freedom every time you go into the soup of complaining and only noticing on what's not working? And how can we build the muscle to notice what is working more and what is working more? And one thing that Brene Brown talked about in her show was the gratitude piece and how important gratitude is in our lives. And, we forget to be grateful. We forget to say, hey, this is working, and I'm grateful that this is working. Hey, this isn't working. Guess what? It's something I don't prefer. I can be grateful that I've just learned that I don't prefer this. I don't prefer to be thinking the same thought anymore. I had a coach tell me once, she goes, Tanya, can you afford to keep thinking this way? Can you afford to keep picking up that old story? Can you afford to be living in the past in whatever way we were talking about? And when I sat and thought about it, I'm like, no, I can't. And a lot of what I talk and a lot about and what I teach is committing to a new way of thinking, because we have to flip that coin to focus. What we focus on grows. And as we flip that coin to focus on what is working, being grateful for what is working, the more of what's not working is eventually going to kind of phase itself out. That doesn't mean that there isn't struggles and challenges and regular human BS that everybody has to deal with. We know just by being on this planet, we're going to have contrast and we're going to have disturbances and things aren't going to go smooth all the time. That's okay. But how do we not let that chaos run the show? How do we get on board with our inner mission, with our inner focus, and really commit in our heart to showing up for this mission and showing up for ourselves in a way that we may not have been able to show up for ourselves before? And can you see every time you dim your light and every time you don't shine your truth that you're oppressing your gifts from being able to come out to the world? You're just putting a lid right on it. Nope, I'm not going to go there. Nope, that's not safe. Well, do you want to be courageous or do you want to be comfortable? And can you see the comfort that comes as a result of being courageous? When we put ourselves out there and do that thing that we're scared of and have that experience, that peak experience, and we look back and say, oh my God, I'm so glad I let myself be scared. I'm so glad I let myself, feel that anxiety or feel that ickiness, and I did it anyways. I felt the fear and I did it anyways. That's courage. And the more we are willing to step into that courage and step into that place inside of ourselves, the more we free ourselves from this oppressive, tendency of our mind to go into what's not working and put a lid on the light and say, nope, not safe to shine that. Nope, not okay to shine that. Well, why not? Who told us that it wasn't okay to be ourselves? Where did we pick that up along the societal norms where it's like, nope, not okay. You've got to be like that person. Nope, you got to be like that person over there. Who you are isn't good enough. And so much of the shame and the ickiness that people carry around with them is just because they were never told, hey, it's okay to be you. Just be you. That doesn't mean be a jerk and act like, like you don't care about other people. It means that you let your light shine and who you are shine through and not care how it's going to land when you're being authentically yourself. And the freedom inside that comes when you can just show up as you without apology. Who would you be in a year if you showed up every day as you and didn't put that lid on? What's going to happen if you keep putting it on every time that you back off from that thing you're scared of? What's it going to mean if you don't do that over the next year? And these are questions that are so healthy to ask, especially when we're striving towards something, especially when we want something more in our lives, whether that's more joy or more love or more meaning. We look at what's standing in the way from us getting there. And coaches and healers like myself, we are blind spot detectors. I look at myself as a blind spot detective. I go into a session and I'm, in that channeled, open, receiving place, and it's like boom this, boom that. And you lay these 3 or 4 things out there, and the person that you're talking with receives it and said, why didn't I ever put those together? It's like, well, because we're so subjective in our experience, we can't see our blind spots. I have blind spots. That's why I have support and people in my life that can show me where my, the point that, well, what about this and what about that? And ask these tough questions. The alchemy of asking. When I channel questions, it's always the right question for that person in that moment, to see that blind spot that's been holding them back from where you're looking to go. If you were there, you would have cleared those blind spots. You wouldn't be having this conversation of why am I not there yet? You'd already be there. So something is oppressing the energy for you to be able to step into it. And it really all boils down to inner freedom, joy, fulfillment. And human beings, what do? We go toward pain, or we go away from pain, we go toward pleasure. And we don't see that sometimes you got to choose pain up front to get the payoff. It's like the gym analogy, right? I'm going to either pay for it at the gym by getting in shape and staying in shape and getting healthy, or I'm going to pay at the back end by having health issues. It's kind of the same type of analogy, but getting into this inner freedom and seeing that in order to, find that sweet spot, we've got to be able to take a step back and say, okay, what's really running here? Where are my thoughts? What am I thinking about the most that I'm talking about the least? That's a great one. What am I thinking about the most that I'm talking about the least? Because I don't want anybody else to know that this story is running in my head. I don't want anybody to know. I'm ashamed of it. Just right there's an area of energy that's oppressing your light and your fire from coming out into the world. So how can you look at these places and not beat yourself up about it? It's another reason why people don't look at this, because this initial, guilt and shame and all this stuff comes up and bubbles to the surface, and we don't want to see that or feel that, so we just kind of do this to it. Not realizing that by facing it, by owning it, by loving it, we integrate it. By loving the dark, we integrate it. And the more that we love that part or those parts, ask them, inquire, the alchemy of asking again, inquire with them, well, is this my voice? Or is this somebody else's voice that I picked up along the way? Is this an aspect of me that had something, unfortunate happen when I was a kid, and I made up a belief, and that's where that part's running? Is this mine? Is this somebody else's? That's the first question. Is this mine? Is this somebody else's? If it's somebody else's, return to sender. It's not yours to carry. We all have our own responsibility to ourselves, and we don't have to carry other people's stuff. We can hand it back to them and say, hey, this is your responsibility. And then if you do get a clear, yes, this is mine, okay, well, what does this part need? What is this part asking for? And the more we ask these questions and dive into these places and have a greater understanding and intimacy with ourselves, not only does that open us up to be more intimate with other people, but we start to unpack all these things that have been preventing us from that joy, from that fulfillment, from that wholehearted connection that we all want to have with ourselves. And how can we invite more of what's working to show us the way by saying, hey, if something's not working, this is just not what I prefer. That's all it means. It just means I don't prefer this. I prefer that instead. Can we get to that place where it's like, where we can pivot really quickly, where we can be in that trigger, where we can be in the contrast, love it, see the lesson in it, and then pivot. This is what I do want. This is what I do want. I'm committed to a new way of thinking. I can't afford to keep picking up that old story. I can't afford to keep picking up that old belief. I can't afford to keep oppressing my light. Because I'm going to be really unhappy at the end of the day if I keep doing this, because I'm going to regret not having done the things that were right in front of me to do, and I turned my back on it because I was too scared of what it meant by stepping through that door. And trust me, I've stepped through more doors of fear than I care to admit. I, have had people who I've shared all, some of my personal tragedies and some of the things I've gone through, and they're like, how can you do what you do? How can you function? Like, I don't think I'd be on the planet anymore. And I'm like, well, I chose life. No matter what life threw at me, no matter what I was, just torture that I was going through, some spark inside of me kept me going even when I forgot the spark was there. And eventually I remembered, oh yeah, I'm here for a big mission. I'm here for a big reason. I'm not meant to, exit stage right right now, even though I wanted to. I'm meant to keep going. I'm meant to persevere. And I'm not going to let these things that happen to me define me for the rest of my life. And that's one of the reasons why I can support people going through or recovering from trauma the way that I can. Because I understand what it feels like to be in the absolute soup of just the worst feelings imaginable. And how to get on the other side of it and find that inner freedom and becoming, one with my heart. Am I one with my heart and free every minute of every day? F no. I don't know anybody who is. If you do know somebody, have them message me. I want to know, what they did. But anytime I hear somebody say, oh, I'm fully healed and everything, I'm like, I don't know about that. There might be some blind spots you're not seeing. I think we're always going to be working on something. We're always going to be unpacking something. But that doesn't mean that our lives have to be this enmeshment of constant unpacking. We can learn through joy and excitement and fulfillment too. It doesn't always have to be through struggle and suffering. And I just didn't get that for many, many years of my life. And I suffered as a result and had lots of more panic and anxiety and made a lot of stupid choices, which then I beat myself up for and ran that whole guilt, shame loop and had to atone and, the wounded healer archetype. And you go through all of these phases when you're working with trauma that you don't understand. And how you can disconnect from it. You don't have to let the experience or experiences that you've experienced throughout the course of your life and other lifetimes define who you are today, now in this moment, or who you're going to be tomorrow and the next day. Like, we really do have the power to not be the same person we were 5 minutes ago. It's about not picking up that old book and not picking up that old story and not keeping on the cycle of oppressive feelings constantly. And when they come up, love them. Not judge them, not say they're wrong, not, oh God, I can't believe I just thought that. Like, oh, why did I think that? By becoming that observer and asking why you're thinking and feeling what you're feeling and opening that dialogue and, connecting with yourself deeper and becoming more intimate with yourself, that spark that's been inside of you forever is going to come alive. And as you nurture that spark, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger to where you don't care anymore about expressing who you are authentically. You can't not express yourself for who you are authentically because you lived in the shadows for so long. You hid your voice for so long. You put a lid on your light and you saw the suffering that it caused you. And then once you unpack that and start sharing and shining, you can't not keep doing it because it's like, oh my God, yeah, it was scary. Yeah, I had to be vulnerable. Yeah, I had to be courageous, but it was the best decision I ever made because today I know how to love myself. And that's what I really want, my long-term clients and the people who are working with me, even if somebody only has a session or two with me, I want to have them walk away loving themselves in a way, loving yourself, in a way that you've never been able to love yourself before. Removing a blind spot that was preventing you from fully stepping into your heart and living, without carrying around the world on your shoulders. We're only here to carry our stuff. That doesn't mean we can't help other people unpack their stuff, but they're the ones that have to unpack their bag. You can help facilitate that, but at the end of the day, we all have to be responsible for ourselves. And as within, so without, the more we all change and do our work, the more we're going to change and help elevate and raise the vibration of the planet. And she needs us more now than ever. We are at a time in human history where we just have to show up, and we have to, choose love, and choose love and show love. I have a funny story this past week, and I don't know if it's retrograde energy or not. And there's a lot of, talk about retrograde. 6 planets in retrograde. And there's a reason why this happens. There's a reason why things get shaken up. Through chaos comes order. Things are supposed to get shaken up. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. You get all this kind of mental programming going out there. Oh, your technology is going to go down. Your plane's, going to be delayed. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And then we get it in our idea in our head that that's going to happen. And now all of a sudden we're stuck in these 3-hour traffic jams. And, it doesn't have to be that way. We can take these pauses and these times where the energy is getting shaken up and use it to recalibrate. Use it to recharge, use it to renew, use it to restart, replan, rethink. Anything with a re in it, it's a great time for. And when something funky does happen, you kind of laugh. I had a phone call drop today for like three or four times in one call. That very, very rarely, if ever, happens. And I just chuckled it off. It was funny. It wasn't anything that I was, attached to. But so this last week I've been smiling at everybody. So I've been, at the gas station pumping my gas. I'm smiling at everybody. At the grocery store, I'm smiling at everybody. I'm making eye contact and smiling with people. And I've always done that. But for some reason this week I was doing it more than usual. Oh my God, the amount of dirty looks I got. Holy crap. And after a while, I'm like, is this real? Because normally I'm used to people smiling back and waving a little bit, and not this last week and a half. It was like one dirty look after another dirty look after another. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I, just kept doing it. I'm like, oh, well, people just need smiles, I guess. And if they're going to reject them, that's on you. Maybe somebody's going to take a smile in eventually. And after like 3 days, somebody finally smiled back. But it was like ridiculously over the top. Hey, hi, Joanne. How are you? It was, ridiculously over the top and people not smiling back. And it made me pause, like, what is going on where everybody is just so heavy, where they can't even receive a smile. And so for everyone that couldn't receive a smile at all and gave me a dirty look back, I just sent a heart hug of light their way, and I just said, hey, I'm sending you light. Hey, I'm sending you light. I'm sending you love. I hope your day gets better. I hope the next smile you can receive. But to see literally dozens and dozens of people just completely reject receiving a smile. Like, how often are we rejecting what's in front of when we're in that soup and stuck, what are we pushing away? What good are we pushing away when we are really stuck in overthinking, overanalyzing, overdoing, right? Looking at what's not working, complaining, doubting, giving ourselves shit about this and that, and not having this and that figured out. What are we blocking from coming in just by being in this soup in our head that, oh, I got to do this and I got to fix this and this isn't right and this isn't right. And I guarantee all of those people who I smiled at this week who couldn't receive that smile were in that place. Because if they weren't, they would have been able to receive the smile. They would have been able to actually feel, hey, somebody's smiling at me just to smile. And yeah, right? But, it made me think, okay, well, what am I blocking? Like, where can I receive more? And I have been talking a lot about receiving over the last month. Just, I'm open to receive, I'm open to receive. But I really was looking at what I was putting my energy into in the last week or two in terms of just mental space and emotional space. And I really was in this place of seeing what's not working. And, and reworking this and looking at that and like, oh God, I haven't done this yet. And just running that energy. And when I kind of looked at, okay, what percentage of my day am I spending on what's not working? Oh, it's a big chunk this last week. Holy moly, I need to look at that. Because what am I blocking by being in that constant state of what's not working? So I have a wallpaper on my phone. It says I commit to a new way of thinking. And, I've just been really in this place of pivoting. When I notice what's not working, what do I want to work instead? What do I want working instead? Or what is working instead? How can I be grateful for that now? How can I feel different about this situation? Where's the gift in it? Really pivoting and saying, repeating that mantra, I'm committing to a new way of thinking. I'm committing to a new way of thinking. Because I can't afford to pick up the old story anymore. I can't afford to pick up what's not working anymore. Not just my, but my emotional bank account can't afford it. What makes my inner freedom tick, what makes, my heart feel open and expansive. I felt really contracted for a few days there right over the last moon cycle. And it was heavy. And I'm like, whoa. And I just had to turn on that muscle even harder of, guess what? What is working? How can I be grateful for this contrast? Where's the lesson of it? Where can I pivot and go into what's working? I choose freedom. I'm going to make the courageous choice to choose freedom. And even if it's uncomfortable looking at the icky stuff and feeling or thinking what maybe isn't the most, fun thing to feel and think at the moment, I can see the gift of doing it versus ignoring it and pretending that it's not there. And just going on, same old, oh, I'll deal with that later. Time's now. Because if I'm going to step up and be courageous and shine what I'm here to express and shine, I can't do that running all that oppressive energy of coulda, shoulda, wouldas. They just don't work in tandem. And at the same time, I want to add the caveat, the universe does not expect us to be perfect. We did not come here to get it all right. And I've had, I had to do an assignment with clients sometimes where I have them turn in their resignation papers to the, chairman of the board for your International Perfectionism Committee. Turn them in. And whatever resignation papers that you're ready to not pick up anymore, whether that's people pleasing or putting, other people's needs before yours or whatever that might be. Like, just turn in the resignation papers. Say, I am committed to being authentically me and to doing what I came here to do. And nothing's going to stand in my way. And that's where inner freedom is born. Making that commitment that nothing's going to stand in your way. And really, consistently owning that commitment. Reigniting it. Like in the Brene Brown yesterday, she wakes up every day. Do I choose courage or comfort? And it was a great talk. I really enjoyed listening to it. So I'll plug it, recommend it. It was good food for thought and gave me a lot of ideas about looking at, my own guilt and grief and shame that I'm still carrying around, that it's like, okay, how is this benefiting me? Nope. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing my fulfillment. And yes, I'm going to look at this stuff. Yes, I'm going to love it, accept it, but I'm not going to keep living in it and reigniting it like it's real, because it's not real. It's just an old background app that hasn't been shut down. and I'm shutting down the app, and I invite you to shut down the apps that are no longer, running for your highest and best good, and turn in those resignation papers of any place that you're oppressing yourself, and just giving yourself permission to shine. The world needs your light. The world needs your gifts, and it's safe to honor and own and share your shine and share your gifts and share your light. So thank you very much for being on with me. For those who are on live with me today, thank you so much for being in my community and being here with me on this journey. I appreciate each and every one of you in my tribe of light on my page here. And if you ever want me to touch on a particular topic, you have something going on, definitely feel free to reach out and send me a message for a topic idea. And if you want to take any of these subjects that I talk about any deeper, I'll shoot my calendar link in the comments for you to schedule a consult with me. I do inner child integrations, trauma release, working on some of the heavy stuff in a light way that transforms, lives. And it's amazing to watch people's lives transform. I was recently channeled or gifted with a process that I'm developing a program with right now, using basically a quantum fiber optic cable of light. And it's a very powerful process, and I'm going to be launching a whole program on it come this fall. And I am looking for some people to participate in a pilot program of it. So if you're interested in that, please definitely shoot me a message and we can talk about it. So I'll shoot my calendar link in the comments. And again, appreciate everyone for being here with me today. Cheers to freedom, and cheers to being courageous. And for everyone who's watching this and has been on the journey of owning your shit, I really want to honor you for being courageous to do that. Not everybody can look at their hypocritical self and say, I love you. Not everybody is, willing to do some of the work, the deeper work that it takes to say, guess what? I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have that blind spot anymore. I know it's there, and I'm going to face it, and I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to own it. And I just want to say, for everyone who's done that itty gritty internal work, kudos to you for being brave. And if change was easy, the world would be transformed. There's a reason that change is challenging. And to everyone who's brave enough to say, I want to transform my life, it's a beautiful, amazing thing. And I just want to honor you for making that choice. You're changing the world. Each and every one of us and you who go in and say, I'm going to transform my life and be my highest and best self, without having to be perfect about it. You're owning your shit. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for anybody who couldn't receive any smiles in the last week, I doubt it's probably anybody that's watching my videos, but, just pay attention to what you're receiving. And, if you're smiling at people and people aren't smiling back, send a hug. Hopefully they'll be able to receive the next smile. So until next week, I might be popping on my my personal profile page starting this week a little bit more, but I will be definitely here next week, same time, same place. And again, feel free to reach out if you have any comments, questions, topic suggestions, interest in the pilot program, all that good stuff. Okay, hope everyone has a beautiful, fantastic, amazing weekend, and thanks again for listening and being here. Bye for now.